My name is Harper, and I am 40 years old and I live in Los Angeles, California, where I work as a freelance graphic designer from home. I live in a quiet little bungalow near the edge of the valley with my 2 cats and a small garden I keep on the side of the house. I live alone, but I am not lonely. I have a few close friends, and I enjoy long walks in the park and painting on weekends. My days are simple and peaceful, and I like it that way. For the past 10 years, I have stayed out of drama and focused on building a calm and quiet life after a messy divorce and a period of deep depression. I thought I had finally found my peace. Then my neighbor moved in. Her name is Darla, and she is 62 years old, and she lives in the house right next to mine with her loud, yappy dog and her constant need to control everything around her. When she first moved in, she seemed nice enough. She waved at me from her porch and brought over a plate of dry cookies with a note that said, "Welcome, neighbor." I smiled and thanked her and thought that was the end of it. But it was just the beginning. Within a week, she started complaining about my trash being out on the wrong day. Then she called the city because she said my rose bushes were growing too close to her property line. Then she started leaving passive-aggressive notes in my mailbox about the volume of my music, even though I never play music loud enough for anyone outside to hear. I tried to be polite. I told her I would check the trash schedule. I trimmed the roses. I showed her my sound meter app on my phone to prove my speakers were not loud, but nothing satisfied her. She kept escalating. She started recording video of me walking to my mailbox and posting it online in a neighborhood group, saying she was concerned for community safety. She told my internet provider I was running a server that was slowing down her Wi-Fi. She even called my landlord and said I was violating the terms of my lease by having plants in the yard. My landlord told me he received 3 complaints in 1 month and asked me to keep the peace. I was stunned. I had never had a single complaint in 7 years. I went to talk to Darla face to face, and she slammed the door in my face. I sent her a civil email asking what I had done to upset her so much. She replied with a 5-page rant accusing me of spying on her through the fence, of using lasers to disrupt her sleep, and of poisoning her dog with chemicals from my garden. I saved the email. I started keeping a log of every interaction. I installed security cameras. I knew then that Darla was not just difficult, she was dangerous, and she had decided I was her enemy. The breaking point came when she reported me to animal control for animal neglect because I had not let my cats outside. The officer came and saw my cats were healthy and well-fed and told me it was not a real complaint. But it scared me. I felt like I was being hunted, so I decided to fight back not with anger but with patience. I would not give her the satisfaction of a fight. Instead, I would outsmart her. I noticed that Darla was obsessed with her appearance. She had a weekly hair appointment every Thursday at noon. She would leave her house in a silk robe and sunglasses and not return for 3 hours. Her dog was left alone, barking the entire time. I also noticed she had installed a new smart doorbell camera on her front porch. She was always checking it on her phone. She loved watching people, so I gave her something to watch. On a Thursday morning, I set up a fake package on my porch. I wrapped an old shoebox in brown paper and wrote her address on it in bold letters. I placed it right in front of my door where her camera could see it. Then I waited. At noon, she left for her appointment just like clockwork. 10 minutes later, a man in a delivery vest walked down the street. I had hired a local actor to play a delivery person. He walked to Darla's door and looked confused. Then he looked at my porch. He walked over to my box, picked it up, checked the label, and shook his head. He went back to his van and drove away. But the damage was done. I checked her social media 5 minutes later. She had posted on the neighborhood group, "Package stolen from my doorstep while I was gone. Police are investigating." I smiled. The next day I did it again. This time I used a real box filled with bricks. I labeled it in different handwriting. Organic hair growth serum. Overnight delivery. Again the actor came again, he saw the mix-up and left. Again Darla posted online. Theft number 2. This is a pattern. This time she tagged the police and 3 local news stations. I watched from the window as she stormed around her yard waving her arms. She installed 2 more cameras. She put up signs. She started checking her porch every 30 minutes. She was paranoid now. Then I took it a step further. I bought a voice-activated smart speaker and placed it on my back porch facing her house. I set it to activate on random phrases and play soft classical music. But every time her dog barked, the sound triggered the speaker and music would start suddenly. At first she thought it was a ghost. Then she thought I was doing it on purpose. She filed another complaint with the landlord saying I was using sound weapons, but the landlord checked and found no violation. Then I made a fake neighborhood website. I registered a domain that looked almost identical to the official one. I posted fake announcements. One said due to ongoing thefts, all residents are required to install motion lights. Another said the city is conducting a wellness check on all elderly residents living alone. A third said animal control will seize all dogs that bark excessively after March 1st. I sent these to Darla's email from a fake board address. She believed everyone. She installed motion lights on all 4 sides of her house. She called the city demanding to know about the wellness check. When they said they had no record, she became convinced I was hacking the system. She started writing letters to the mayor. Then the final move. I learned she had a long-lost niece who lives in Oregon. I found the niece on social media and sent her a private message explaining everything. I shared my logs, my videos, my evidence. I did not ask for help. I just wanted her to know. 2 days later, the niece called Darla. I do not know what they talked about, but the next morning Darla was acting strange. She tore down her cameras. She took down her signs. She stopped posting online. Then she saw me watering my garden. She walked over slowly. Her hands were shaking. She looked at me and said, "I know what you did." I smiled and said, "I have no idea what you mean." Then she said, "My niece called me. She thinks I am sick. She wants me to see a doctor. I am not stupid. I know you are behind this." I leaned on my hose and looked her in the eye and said, "If you say one more word to me, I will show the police every single note you have left me, every false report you have made, and every lie you have told. I have it all. I have recordings. I have dates. I have proof. And I will not go quietly if you keep this up." She stepped back. She did not speak. She turned and walked back to her house. That night her lights stayed on until 4 a.m. The next day a small moving truck pulled up. By noon she was gone. I never saw her again. A week later, I got a letter forwarded from the landlord. It was from Darla. It said, "I hope you are happy. You won, but you are a monster." I did not reply. I burned the letter. I sat on my porch that evening with a glass of wine and watched the sun set over the hills. My garden was blooming. My cats were purring. The street was quiet. I had not destroyed her. I had exposed her. And in the end, she destroyed herself. And that felt better than revenge ever could.